be a lady, but I'm all
Greetings,
woman.
viewer. How are you doing? Welcome to Full Record Jacket with Phil and Ben. We are so grateful for you joining us. We're doing this particular recording under a time limit, are we not, Ben? I believe.
We are, yeah, because we both need feeding, because we'll become grouchy animals, and nobody needs two middle-aged men grumpy because they haven't been fed.
Exactly. So we will put a 25-minute or so limit on this particular edition. Now, we're really grateful for everyone who joins us and watches these ramblings, as someone put it recently, and everyone who's followed. And we must say a thank you, particularly to Rob Walker, because Rob put a very nice post on the other day, bigging our channel up after he discovered us. And as a result of that, I think we had a few people click on and subscribe. So thanks to Rob for that. And we must recommend his channel as well, because he's one of these people who I really admire it when people can do a YouTube channel solo and, just turn it on. They don't, I see if I run out of things to say, Ben, I just don't say anything and you take over. It makes it nice and easy. To do it on your own is much more of a challenge. So I would suggest,
as I found the other day doing my video on my own, I just had to witter on about my hair being rubbish.
Exactly. So I suggest everybody goes on to YouTube and simply types in Rob Walker, let the music play. There he is.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Rob Walker.
Not Roy Walker.
No, it's
no
Rob.
Catchphrases.
And, the other day he was showing some cassettes, and he showed something that I hadn't seen for 30 years, which is Blur's Park Life. Well, that's that as well. Park Life in cassette form.
Whoa, hold the horses, Nelly.
Where the Greyhounds picture sort of wraps around the side a little bit.
That's a cassette
that's a cassette up there, yeah.
And down there I've got Be Here Now and Definitely Maybe on cassette.
Wow.
I know.
That's groovy. Do you know what I saw actually someone showed me recently that they had was do you remember the Duran Duran album? The one that's got Rio on. In fact, it's called Rio.
Well, it's funny you say that, Phil, because as you well know, around this time yesterday, you did ask the question to whether I was in Duran Duran.
Well, yeah, we'll go on to that in just a moment. But you remember the Rio album? It's got like a sort of dark reddish background.
It's a purpley, pinky front cover
with a woman's face on the front, yeah. And it's made to look like a sort of French cigarette Art Deco-y, or you know what I mean? It's like a sort of 20th century, mid-20th French cigarette packet. And I think the cassette version obviously fits that design perfectly. Now, why did I think that you're in Duran Duran? But I can't possibly think why that might have been. Let's just go on to WhatsApp and look.
Okay.
Let's just look at your current WhatsApp
profile picture.
You don't mind me revealing this to the world, do you?
No. You reveal all, Phil. It was me in my youth.
That is why I wondered whether Ben.
Let's look at. I'm a handsome man, aren't I? I only had one chin back then as well.
Yeah.
And look at it. I've got a nose like a set square.
What year was that?
I would say that was around 2006.
Okay.
I was in Walkabout in Rugby, I know that much. But yeah, that'd be 2006. That's a Top Man Riders t-shirt, I think I'm wearing there. So, I was a handsome chap. Like I've got a nose like a witch.
So in your timeline, that was like Don't Believe the Truth plus 1 year. Is that how you timeline it?
It was around that period, yeah. It might even have been 2005 I started growing my hair. So it would be early, that would be it'd be early 2006, that would be. I was a little bit drunk. Right there.
I could tell that. Right. I could tell that by the fact you'd authorised that hairstyle and gone out with it, yeah.
What's wrong with that hairstyle, Phil? Why are you coming at me for about my hair?
It's hair, Ben. I'm always envious of any
Oh, yeah,
amount
you
of
are.
hair.
Yeah. I knew it was a bit of a sore point. But yeah. Do you know what? I've never really listened to any Duran Duran apart from the singles.
You haven't?
No. I have been listening to this today, and you can see it. You know what that is?
No, that is vaguely familiar.
I'm going to grab it off.
Hang on a second. Let me just guess. Is that something that is considered uncool?
It depends on your perspective, doesn't it? If you are a middle-aged man into his proper rock son, then yeah, you may consider it uncool.
What's that?
The Ute.
Okay.
Today,
did I just see a mathematical symbol on the front of?
You may have seen a mathematical symbol. You may not have seen a mathematical symbol.
I think it's someone with ginger hair.
It is somebody with ginger hair, a strawberry blonde hue to him.
Well, you've gone the stage further, because I admitted, was it the last show or the show or so ago, I admitted to watching a couple of songs on an Ed Sheeran concert on the TV, but that's going, that's
Well, I bought
you've taken it to the max there.
with that in mind, and to be fair, I don't want to sound too sort of snidey, but it could quite easily be one of his other albums, if you know what I mean. And there's one song on here which was just playing, because I was playing it while I was logging on. Sandman, the one before the last track. Oh God, I don't like that at all. I don't like it. And Joker and the Queen, wasn't a big fan of that, but it's not a bad album. I suppose it's Ed Sheeran being Ed Sheeran. It's got some heavy bass on it, some beats, and he can write a song. But you know, when you get those artists, a bit like, was it Stephen Jones from Baby Bird? Those kind of artists who just knock out album after album without any real in-betweeny bit. It's just like a constant. They all begin to sort of merge into one, and that's kind of how I feel a little bit with this. It could quite easily be an Ed Sheeran album from any other period of Ed Sheeran. So, but it's all right. It's not too bad. It's just a bit. I'm gonna say it. It's a little bit twee. If that makes the lyrics and that a little bit twee for my. But not bad. I mean, I was listening earlier to, where is it? Oh, I know you haven't asked me the question. What have I been listening to this week? I was listening to this. I know I bought it up on albums I bought. Restless Thoughts by Zoe Celeste. I've been listening to this all week. That isn't bad. Bit different. It reminds me of somebody from the 80s. A little bit, maybe a little bit Brian Ferry in places. It's the vocal that does it. Yeah, but I've been listening to that. That's not been bad.
Okay.
That's not been bad. Were you going to ask me the question, what have I been listening to this week?
It's kind of not really required now, is it?
No. Well, do you know what I did listen to, based on what we spoke about last week?
Yeah.
Because you purchased it. Well, you didn't purchase it. You were given it. I went back and listened to the Robbie Williams Escapology album.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know what? I don't know whether it's because of time. I don't think I enjoyed it as much listen to it now as I did at the time. Me and My Monkey, great track. Come Undone, great track. But there was a couple of tracks now. I was like, I think there was a point where when you don't listen to the whole album and you realise why you don't listen to the whole album.
Well, it is quite a long album. It suffers from the old overlong CD syndrome, doesn't it? I think probably. Yeah,
and I think that's the trouble I got. I think I got to about track 8 or 9, and I was like, do you know what? I'd be quite happy if it sort of finished here.
Do you know what I think about long CDs from the 90s? Even into the 2000s?
Take up much more time than short CDs.
They do, but I tend to think of those long albums. There was an hour long or more on the disc.
Yeah. Be Here Now, for instance.
Unless they are particularly great. I tend to think of them as
like Be Here Now.
Yeah, I tend to think of them as car albums. You have it on in the car. Basically you're never going to listen to the whole thing in one long go. You just listen to a bit of it in the car, and the next journey you hear a bit more of it, and then
I used to have albums like that where I'd listen to when I was going down to my cousin's in Torquay, because it was like 3.5 hour drive. You knew you could, I knew I could at least get one side of Be Here Now in that time.
Well, you could have got the whole.
I could at least get all around the world in that time. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. A bit of a car album. Do you know what album I really liked driving to back in the day? Apart from the New Radicals, an album was The Strokes. This Is It. And The Invisible Band by Travis. I used to find that quite a good album to have on the car.
I do remember one. Why do I have a memory of this from back in around? Was it 2000? Around about then. What year was that Travis album?
Was it 2003?
I seem to remember
2002, 2003.
For some reason, meeting you at the sports centre. Remember the local sports centre before they rebuilt it on one evening, and it must have been in the autumn. It was kind of dark, but it wasn't too cold. And you turned up.
We weren't drug dealing, by the way, kids.
You turned up in your car. I don't know why I remember this.
Was it a yellow one?
I don't know. I can't remember. But I do remember
2001 Invisible Band. 2001, which it was. Yeah, because Flowers in the Window, and that was like a big. And Side was a big track for me. Sorry, I interrupted.
I don't know why we were meeting at the sports centre.
I do remember this meeting.
I don't know why. But then you had... I tell you what, you had the Travis song. I now I'm remembering this more now. You had the Travis song that was playing was the one about the neighbour's got a new car that you want to drive.
What's
that one?
Neighbour's got a new car that you want to drive. Time is running out, so you got to stay alive. The circle only has one side, so it's Side. Because Travis went for a lot of one-word titles, didn't they?
That was called Side.
Yeah, it's a great track. That was a track to a lot of car journeys. That one.
That was on in your car, and then I seem to. How do I remember this now? I seem to remember at that time we were having a conversation about. Do you want to know what else I would? Okay, let me go and get it. Hang on. I think if I can find this.
Here we go, kids. Look at him. He's off. His cranium has literally kicked in. Here we go. He's going off. Here we go.
Because this would have been 2001, because I remember now that I had been listening. I think I may have had this on in my car, and we may have talked about it, but I was listening at that point to Bob Dylan's Love and Theft. Because that came out in September 2001. In fact, it was famously released on 9/11/2001. But that's mad. How long ago is that? That's
24 years ago.
It is.
Why were we meeting up in a leisure centre car park?
Were we?
Definitely no dogging going on.
Were you playing five-a-side?
Or I might have been playing. I was either playing five-a-side. Would I have been doing? Or I might have been going to play badminton with my dad.
Now, did I ever go and play badminton with you?
I don't. Did you?
I don't remember doing that. And I did very briefly play. Well, maybe the word is for me with football is not appropriate, but I very briefly took part in a five-a-side team with some guys that I worked with.
Did you?
Yes, very briefly.
My mind is being blown out.
I know it's hard to believe that, and I didn't do anything successful in the five-a-side team. And I think I was there to make up a number, basically.
Were you the goalpost?
We got beaten. What I do remember is the one match I played in a fair bit. We got completely beaten, and we were at the time were aged about. How old we would have been then? I would have been about 30, I guess.
Yeah.
So
legs have gone.
Yeah. We were beaten by a bunch of guys that were much older than us and had beer bellies. And and they were so good at passing. It was like trying to play against.
Was it like Barcelona, that mid-2000s Barcelona?
Well, it was, yeah, something like that, or I don't know, Argentina or whichever teams teams great at passing the ball around. It was like being outclassed by some South American professional team. We could hardly get the ball because these guys were just so good at keeping possession and passing it to each other, and we were all capable of running much faster than these guys, but they were just. It was
you see.
It reminded me as if I needed any reminder why I was never really good at football. But there you go. But I think that may have been why
I do remember this meeting in the car park. So I do remember it. I think maybe it was a Sunday, and I think I was going badminton with my dad.
Oh, was it? I don't know. Well, maybe we just we met by chance. Then we hadn't agreed to meet each other or arranged to meet each other there. We were both doing separate things and saw each other there. Is that how it happened? Why the hell are we talking about this?
Or we were doing a drug deal. Babe. It's one of them. Because Phil, as people may know, was the Pablo Escobar of rugby. But I did buy, Phil, so this week, I bought an album by, and I am not ashamed to admit it. I did have a little bit of a man crush on this guy. He was a film actor in the 80s. His career kind of dwindled slightly. He came back in the noughties with one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And famously,
hang on, let me think, who would that be?
Wrestled a Christmas tree.
He was big in the 80s, and then he came back with a TV series.
Big in the 80s. He was in some iconic films of the 80s. He was in a couple of iconic films in the 90s.
Not Bruce Willis.
Not Bruce Willis. He would be the other slice of bread in this man sandwich. But he came back in the early 2000s. He would have been 35 at the time. Came back with one of my favourite TV shows of all time.
I can't think who that would be.
He is now still an actor, but he is a recording artist as well. Had a famous dad.
Oh, I should really get this, shouldn't I?
Who passed away last year, I believe his dad did.
Oh, it's I know. It's Kiefer Sutherland.
It is Kiefer Sutherland, or as I know him, Jack Bauer. Oh, man time.
That was 24, wasn't it? I remember that. Yeah.
24, and it was 24 years ago the first season came out.
No, I remember watching that because wasn't it always the case that the character, every episode was it 24 minutes or something?
No.
It was an hour, but it was the whole series was set over the 24-hour period, and each episode
it ran in real time.
Each episode you saw an hour's worth of that day.
Yeah.
And what used to keep happening was he was going to do something heroic, and then he had that ditzy blonde daughter who kept getting herself into problems, and he had to go off and he had to go off and save the daughter each time, and he was trying to distracted him from.
But he didn't have to say it was the mother that was trying to save the daughter.
Oh, it was the mother.
Okay. He was busy trying to stop an assassination attempt. But I must admit, I do look back at that series and think, in an hour, I can barely get up, have a shower, and do all my business without meandering. He was literally saving the world in an hour. And that's the reason why I bought this. I have seen him live on a couple of things.
Forgotten about that series, yeah.
Popped up.
Yeah.
And then this popped up, and I thought, do you know what? I do, it's a bit of sort of modern country sort of that sort of vibe to it. He was a rodeo rider at one point when his film career sort of died off slightly.
I remember that.
Famously, if anybody out there watches YouTube, and you better be because we're on it now, putting Kiefer Sutherland Christmas tree. Oh, he was in a hotel in London. I think he was touring at the time with his band, and he wrestles a rather large Christmas tree in a posh hotel, which is hysterical. I love it. I love a bit of Christmas tree wrestling, because trees should live outdoors, not inside. As well, look at that one, Philster. So I treat myself to a little bit of Kiefer Sutherland. And do you know what else I bought this week? And it won't be delivered until a couple of weeks' time. I'll give you a clue. Band from the 90s. Well, actually, technically, started in the 80s. But they made their iconic stuff in the 90s.
Okay,
I've often
I'm pretty
called
sure I know this then.
one of their albums the Come Down. Be Here Now was the Hangover. This band's album was the Come Down from the, very somber album. Released one more album after that. Have not released an album in 23, 24 years. I ordered their new album. Any ideas, Philster? To be fair,
I think I know who it is. Can I do a mime of who I think it is?
yes, you can.
Okay, see if you can remember this iconic moment. Hang on.
People don't realise that Phil, when he left school, started off as a French mime artist.
Am I right?
You are right. And may I say, you have two very pert bottom cheeks.
That was...
Or as Phil likes to call them, the Mitchell brothers.
That was my impression of Jarvis Cocker wafting his bottom
anus
towards
at Michael Jackson.
Yes, in the Brits,
So I bought the new Pulp album.
Yeah,
and as you well know, because you know this, because I messaged you last night, I was watching them on the iPlayer yesterday.
Okay.
Jarvis, you forget he's 61 now. He's an old man, and the first thing that came into my head when I saw him was, he's an old man. He looks old. He's got that old man mouth thing going on.
He's only 9 years older than me.
Like I said, old man. And but I love Spike Island and is it the Love Song as well. I'm very excited for this new Pulp album. I don't think I ever listened to the last one. Is it We Love Life? But This Is Hardcore is one of my favourite albums of the 90s. So and I like Jarvis's solo stuff that he did as well.
Yeah.
And so I am quite looking forward to this Pulp album. We may have to review it, Phil. Do an actual review, like research and listening and stuff.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if have you heard any of the new? Have you heard Spike Island?
I haven't. I must admit, I've not caught up with this. I know they've been doing this new stuff.
It's very good. The lyrics to it are very good. I think the lyric is, "I was born to perform," and then think about shouting and pointing, because obviously he's sort of talking about himself and the fact, it's a very, very good track. You should go listen to it, Phil.
I heard a bit of it, and it did sound like Pulp. It did sound pulpish.
Yeah, it's got that very. And then I realised listening to, and I've only watched half of it off of the iPlayer of them live on BBC Radio 2. There must be something in the water in Sheffield, because Jarvis Cocker, Alex Turner are very good at, writing a story of a song, because a lot of those, 90s bands, a lot of the lyrics were kind of just a bit like some might say, were just randomness. I mean, Beck is the king of random lyrics, but he does weave a story, doesn't he, Jarvis? A bit like Alex Turner then took that mantle on and sort of ran with it. So, but yeah, I am mildly excited about the new Pulp album. And my Jack Bauer album. Yes, I can't separate the art from the artist. He is Jack Bauer. And he's my little man crush, is Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah. So that's what I've been listening to, Phil. Bit of Ed Sheeran. And that Zooey, what's his face? And then I'm going to listen to my little man crush, my little man peach, my furry little man peach, Kiefer Sutherland. What about you? What have you been listening to? I know what you've been listening to. You've been listening to Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, not a lot, to be honest. I haven't actually put it on, but do you want me to get it?
You can get it.
We got 5 minutes.
Show everybody. We've got 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes. He's going off now, folks. Here we go. Have you noticed the no expense spared sign in the background? Whole A4 piece of paper, that.
I can't hear a thing you were saying. I have to take my headphones off. So, yeah, so we've got the Queen of Soul.
We do indeed.
Now, this is a box that came out in 92, I think.
Oh, is it that old?
It's that old. And
blimey, right.
It was mastered by I think, was it Bernie Grundman? It's one of those top remaster people. It's supposed to be very well done. Let's have a look. I can't see where it is here. Oh no, Ted Jensen at Sterling Sound, New York City. But it's a claim. So this is a 4-disc set. If we take it out the outer box, this looks like that, and you've got the book in there, and then you've got the CDs look like that. They're all the same, but so on here you've got, well, it's basically the Atlantic recordings. No, Aretha Franklin recorded for Columbia first, and the stuff she did for Columbia was a little bit kind of jazzy. It was kind of a little bit orchestrated, and it was a little bit like, they were putting her in the realms of people like Ella Fitzgerald and the Frank Sinatra arrangements, that kind of stuff. And it wasn't. It was, it's okay, but it didn't really quite completely work because it didn't bring out the soulful nature of her talent until Jerry Wexler at Atlantic started to produce her, and then.
Is she still alive, Aretha Franklin?
No, she did die in very recent times. No, it was so a couple of year or two ago. Wasn't that long ago? I'm trying to think when it was. Maybe it's longer ago than I think. But
did she go before Tina Turner? Because I keep forgetting Tina Turner's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's another one, isn't it?
Let's have a look.
I'm trying to think. I think it might have been after. Oh, well, you'll have to tell us now because I can't remember. I think the last public performance by Aretha Franklin was when she performed at some thing in America, and Barack Obama and Michelle Obama were there. Do you remember that? And she came on wearing this big coat.
2018.
Was it 18? Okay, 2018.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it was one of Obama's inauguration things or whatever it was, but it was in latter years, and she came on and played the piano and sang "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," I think. But yeah,
Tina Turner was 2023.
But yeah, typical box set. You obviously get a nice book, and you get all the information in there, and you get some photos. I think this runs through to the 70s, and obviously all the big ones are on there. Think and Chain of Fools, and I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, Say a Little Prayer. The ones you know, and obviously quite a lot that you may not have heard before. There's a version of Bridge Over Troubled Water. I can't remember whether I've ever heard that before. She does Let It Be, the Beatles' Let It Be. Can't remember hearing that. Can you remember hearing that? I can't remember her doing that.
No.
There's also a version of The Weight by the band. So there's all sorts of stuff on here. A lot of soul songs as well, Tracks of My Tears, and etc. So I'm going to give that a good listen at some point soon. But that was
filthy boy.
That was my soulful bargain from recently.
From the eBay?
From the eBay. And to be fair, the person I bought it from, they sent it. It got delayed because it had insufficient postage. And I had to pay £3.50 to Royal Mail to get it delivered. But the person refunded it for me. So there you go.
There is some humanity left in the world.
There is
some humanity.
There is. So there we go.
Look out, we've got bang on the time we said we were going to finish for.
Bang on the time we said we'd be.
We are good. We are so good, Phil. So good. It makes me want to get undressed.
That's the only time anything's ever gone to plan on this show. So,
yeah.
Viewer, thank you for watching our ramblings. We do appreciate it. Please subscribe if you want to subject yourself to more of this. And we will come back with another one talking about something completely different at some indeterminate point in the future. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and do take care. Bye for now.